Welcome back to another Ret Paladin video. Verabin here. Today we're going to be looking at the brand new alpha build that just hit the alpha servers for Ret Paladins. There were some really big changes to the trees that kind of looks minor when you look at the trees, but upon further inspection I think we're going to be able to get a much nicer, clean build out of this. So let's take a look. Alright, so jumping right into the talents, you can see that there were several talents that were removed. These were Last Rites, Deemed Unworthy, Swift Crusader, and Long Arm of the Law. I don't know why Long Arm of the Law was removed and not just improved, but that's what they're doing. You can see there's a developer's note there. We recognize the movement is fun and feels good when attached to short cooldown buttons. No crap. That said, our goal for Ret Paladin is to keep their strengths in removing things that hinder their mobility or to charge into battle on their divine steed, not to give them the short duration burst of movement on a very short cooldown. This feels a little bit like a rug pull to me because I feel like everybody kind of liked Long Arm of the Law, how it felt. Maybe it needs to be tuned based on the new judgment cooldowns and stuff like that, but anyway, it's gone for now. We'll have to see if it comes back. And then it looks like Leadrin's Fury was also removed, so we're not going to dwell on the things that were removed. We're going to look at the stuff that was added and changed and stuff like that, so let's check those out. Alright, so for brand new talents, we have one that increases mastery by 2%. Who cares? There's a Seal of Wrath. Judgment has a 25% chance to cast again and deal extra holy damage to its target. That's actually really cool. I don't know that I'm wild about more RNG for Ret Paladins. There's already a lot of procs with Blade of Wrath and all that cool stuff, but we'll have to see. Imperium Endowment, that means your judgment empowers your next Templar's Verdict to automatically trigger Divine Storm with 25% more effectiveness. This effect can only occur once every 30 seconds. So this is kind of like the Necrolord Vanquisher's Hammer, where you throw that and then you get an automatic Templar's Verdict, or I'm sorry, an automatic Divine Storm on your next Templar's Verdict. Occur once every 30 seconds. I think this is okay. I think where you're going to see it's placed on the talent trees, though, is it's kind of like very deep in the talent tree. I'm not sure it's really worth the point. We'll have to see. Executioner's Wrath. Execution Sentence now instead deals 50% of the damage taken from your abilities to the target and nearby enemies within 8 yards. So that's kind of interesting. It kind of gives you like an AoE nuke at the end. It deals more damage, and then it doesn't appear to be AoE capped. It may be AoE capped at 5 or something like that, but I think that will be kind of cool. I don't know if they're saying it's spread to those people within 8 yards or if it's kind of it's duplicated to those people. I kind of assume it's spread, but we'll have to see. All right, Sanctified Ground. This one's interesting. Your consecration is 15% larger, and you cannot be slowed below 80% of your normal movement speed within consecration. So I just want to make sure it's clear. So instead of having 20% more movement speed from Long Arm of the Law, we're now getting a talent that makes it where we can't be negative 20%, more than negative 20% movement speed within consecration. So you know what? I feel like they really want consecration to be a thing, but I almost feel like I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of an anti-snare. I wish it was slowed below 100% of your movement speed, so you could still kind of move. But we'll have to see. It lasts for 2 seconds after leaving consecration, so that's kind of neat. And I'm thinking between consecration cooldowns and between Blessing of Freedom, that maybe there's going to be something like, you know, we'll have to see if that kind of plays out. And then there's another new talent here. Your Holy Power Spinning abilities increase the damage of your next Blade of Wrath by 8 or 16%, so it's a 2-rank talent. I think that one's kind of interesting. Blade of Wrath damage isn't all that much, but maybe with tuning it's going to be a little bit better. Maybe with Expurgation it's a little bit better if that's something we're going to want to take. We'll just have to see how it plays out with the talents. Alright, so the next set here, there are some modified talents. High Lord's Judgment now has 2 ranks and increases Judgment's damage by 8 and 16%, so that seems pretty good. It increases Judgment damage by 16%. I have a feeling Judgment is going to be a pretty big part of our damage, especially if you're going to take Divine Toll and the note below it, so we'll have to see. Another one, Calm Before the Storm. That's the one where your Divine Storm, you take 100% damage from consecration. So I mean, I think that's obviously better. Like I said, they're trying to make consecration a thing, and this is going to help that a little bit. Inner Power was nerfed to only give us 1 holy power every 10 seconds. I'm sorry, versus 12 seconds. So a little bit of a nerf there. I don't know, or I don't know if that's really going to be very good or not. In a prior build, as we're going to see, they actually nerfed Sanctification as well. So we'll take a look at the talent tree in just a minute and play around with some of that stuff, and we'll be able to see those how they're playing out. You can see they have some developer notes here on why they did this. I think this restructuring is actually pretty good. It does look like the talent tree is a little bit better laid out, so we're going to jump into that in just a minute. You can see Zeal and Blade of Wrath have been moved up to put before the first gate, which means you get them a lot earlier, and they're not kind of gates to going down the tree. I just realized you can't see my arm, but they're actually in the top, so you get them really, really early, so that's really good. Crusade and Avenging Wrath. Might choice node has been moved up and put before the second gate. The choice node is now located where the execution sentence was in the previous build. I actually really like this because I'm not a big fan of execution sentence, and I think that having that be way deep down in the tree just means that I don't really have to worry about getting it. I don't have to worry about kind of trying to skirt around it. It's just not something I'm going to want to take. You can see execution sentence was moved. The area after the second gate has been restructured in a way that aims to increase build diversity. So, okay. All right, let's take a look. I don't know if there were any changes to the class talents. There were a couple. You can see incandescence damage increased by 300%. We'll have to see. That's the one where you just got these random procs for consecration doing extra damage, so 300%. We'll have to see how that works. After image now correctly, only triggers on a Word of Glory cast. So that's the one where after spending so many holy power, you're able to get like a bonus 30% Word of Glory. So I don't know, it's probably not something we're going to take. So let's take a look at the talent tree. All right, so for the ret tree, you can see that some of this was restructured. I know that there's been some concern about like, do we even take Divine Storm? I think that kind of, especially for PvP, I mean, so I think that's something you'll have to decide. Obviously, you're going to take Art of War, you're going to take Holy Blade, you're going to take Blade of Wrath, you're going to take Shield of Vengeance. There's a lot of required stuff in here. Holy Crusader now is 2% mastery. I don't know if that's really worth the point or not, because there's so much other good stuff at the top here. I think you absolutely need Zeal if you're going to take Blade of Wrath, because you need those faster melee attacks. So that means you have to take Timely Judgment, which you're going to want to take anyway. But what's going to happen is, what's going to get left behind is Improved Crusader Strike. And you know what? I don't know that you need it. Like right now, every once in a while, I can go through those. But if we're going to be in a situation where we have to keep Consecration up, I think that it's likely or possible that we're not going to need it. We're not going to need Improved Crusader Strike, and if we don't, then it's gonna be pretty. It's gonna clear up, I think, the talent tree a little bit, and you'll see what I mean. So okay, so let's take a look. So you're gonna obviously take Wake of Ashes. Consecrated Blade, maybe. Seal of Wrath is one that I think you're probably going to want to take. I see it's a little bit out of frame here, but it causes Judgment has a 25% chance to deal additional 28% of your attack power as additional holy damage, so that's pretty good. I think Expurgation is one you're going to probably want to skip, but I think Seal of Wrath is probably one that you're going to want, especially if you're going to take Divine Toll, which I think is probably something that you do want to take. Down here, I'm going to take Empyrean Power. I think Fires of Justice is pretty good, but I also think that if you don't take Improved Crusader Strike, you probably would want to take Empyrean Power here, because you're not going to be doing as many Crusader Strikes. In PvE or in PvP against melee cleaves, you're probably going to want to take Eye for an Eye. And then I've heard that the tuning on Selfless Healer is actually really good, so that's probably one that you're going to want to take. You have to take Avenging Wrath Might, because you want to get that 20% critical strike. So that's one you're going to have to take. I think that, again, as you're going to want to go down and take the Divine Toll, I think you're going to have to take High Lord's Judgment here to get 16% more damage on your Judgment. I think that's going to be well worth the points. I don't know if you're going to have enough points to take Sanctification or Inner Power. We'll have to see. As it stands right now, Ashes to Dust is really the only option here. I don't really understand Path of Ruin because it costs holy power instead of gives you holy power, and it just feels like the choice you're making here is an incredible amount of holy power, and it's going to have to be very strong. It's going to have to be a monster hit for it to really be worth it, because what you're not just trading the 3 holy power from Wake of Ashes, you're trading an additional Wake of Ashes, so it's more than that. It's so much less holy power. I feel like it either needs to be way overtuned so that you're going to have to just want to bang this thing and it's going to be huge, or it's going to have to be completely reworked. So as it stands, I don't know why you'd ever take that talent. So I don't think you're going to take Tempest of the Lightbringer. That's more of a Mythic Plus talent. It's definitely one that you're going to want to take. And I think there's going to be a talent situation in here potentially that makes sense to take a lot of these AoE talents, but we'll have to talk about those. And then, so we have so many talents right now. So we still have 4 more talents to spend before we can go down here. I think you're going to take Hand of Hindrance for PvP, but if not, you're going to probably take Consecrated Ground. And at this point, you almost have to take one of these kind of talents that I don't know that they're super great. I would probably end up taking Inner Power, just because it's free holy power, but you're gonna have to get like a weak aura and stuff for it to make sure you don't overcap holy power, so that might be sort of not great. And like I said, depending on how consecration is tuned and stuff like that, you might end up taking sanctification. It just kind of depends. Exorcism right now just doesn't do any damage right now in alpha from what I've heard, so that's not great. But right now you've got 2 points to kind of do whatever you want with. I would definitely try Sanctified Ground. I feel like that's going to be sort of like a freedom that you place on the ground. I think that's kind of cool. What I would love is that if it worked for your teammates, I think that would be really cool in Arena, where you could plop down that and then it would keep your guys going. And like I said, it only obviously it only has what, an 8-second cooldown reduced by haste on Consecration. So you're going to be able to just move. You're going to be able to pop that thing down and kind of keep moving, at least at somewhat of a, maybe not a wheelchair pace, maybe it's a rascal scooter pace, something like that. So I would probably just take Righteous Verdict at this point. I feel like if you're going to take Divine Purpose down here, then there's a pretty good chance you're going to be doing Templar's Verdicts back to back, so we're going to take Righteous Verdict. Another cool thing that changed that they made was they put Virtuous Command down here. And then and they actually put Final Verdict right here where you can actually get it. So that is really, really cool. So you're going to take Templar's Vindication, and you're going to take Final Verdict. I don't know that you're going to take Vanguard's Momentum. It might be actually a good option instead of taking Improved Crusader Strike, because you'll have from Final Verdict, you'll be getting more charges of Hammer of Wrath. And then, so that's something you might consider, but I think Divine Toll's a no-brainer. I think Ashes to Ashes is a no-brainer. I think that getting those Seraphims back-to-back has been something that's been a lot of fun as far as in Shadowlands right now, so I think that's something that's really good. Relentless Inquisitor, I don't know how I feel about this being gated behind in front of Execution Sentence. I just don't think that makes it desirable. I do think that Divine Resonance is something that might be good, so maybe we'll take that. But at this point, you can see that there's, we got 3 talents left here to play with. I mean, we can take Vanguard's Momentum, we can go in here and take Boundless Judgment and do some cleaves. I don't think this one, as tuned, is going to be one that we want to take. We can just get 2% Mastery, which is going to be pretty cool. We can take Expurgation, which might be good depending on how it's done. We maybe want to take that, and then we can take Eye for an Eye if we want to. It just feels like there's a lot of talents now that are desirable, and I think that's really, really cool. So I think this build brought in a lot of good changes in here, and once I get alpha access, one day we'll get alpha access, I think that I want to test out these consecration builds and see if we can actually make these things work. So that's all for the video. Please be sure to hodge that like button and subscribe for more Ret Paladin content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.